What's up, YouTube? Today we're going to be talking about these OLL cases and why you're probably doing them wrong. So before we do that, we're going to talk about what home grip is. And so most people already know this, but for right-handed solvers, which is like 90% of cubers or more, home grip is thumb here and one of these two fingers back here, and then your other hand turns this layer, right? So that's pretty obvious, but one thing that I've noticed among a bunch of cubing like resources is that for these OLLs, for like fat soons basically and fat soon variations, the right hand is preferred, which, you know, at first it makes sense because like right-handed turners like right-handed turns, right? But I'm going to argue the point that you should probably be using the left-handed fat soons, and if you're right-handed, you should be using the left-handed fat soons, and here's why. So basically in any algorithm, you want to like reduce the amount of regrips before and after, and that especially, in my opinion, that especially applies to stuff like OLL, which is like a transitional thing. Like you do OLL to get into PLL. So when you're doing an OLL, you want to start with in home grip and end in home grip, so that when you go into PLL, you're in home grip, you don't have to adjust anything. And this is like a general rule, not like a 100% of the time type beat. But generally, that's what I would say is the best. Now, here's what gets interesting. When you do wide move algorithms like fat soon, pretend I did that right. When you do wide move algorithms like fat soon, your home grip actually changes from what it is normally. So if you're here, if you just did like an F2L pair and you're here, and then you have to go into a wide move OLL, you have to shift your fingers away from home grip at least a little bit. Like it's not a full like left-handed home grip, for example. Usually I've paid close attention to people like Felix who do like wide arm moves in OLL, and it's not like a whole like reset like here basically, but it is a slight shift away from like home grip so that you can do the wide moves. And I'm going to tell you why I think that's bad and what you can do to fix it. So it's bad because it's a regrip basically, not a full regrip. It's like more of a reload, I guess. But you can completely avoid it, like 100%, if you use the left-handed fat soons, because the left-handed fat soons actually stay in right-handed home grip all like the whole algorithm. So that should seem like relatively intuitive, right? Like you're here, I can do this whole left-handed fat soon without changing my home grip. And I think if you're a right-handed solver, you should be doing left-handed fat soons. So what OLL cases do this apply to? Well, definitely this one. You don't want to be doing this because it's bad, in my opinion. It also applies to these guys. So normally you would do like wide R prime and then U2, but I think you should be doing that. It applies to like the double fat soons. So instead of doing here, you do here. It applies to these guys. I don't really know what these are called, but it definitely applies to these guys because there's not even any slight alteration from home grip at all. So yeah. And then I'm not really sure about these, but maybe the Lucas Etter ones. I don't really know. That one's kind of ambiguous because at the end you're kind of like here instead of like here. I don't know how well you can see my fingers, but hopefully all of that was good enough to see. So this is sort of my theory, and I would be interested in what you'll think about it, and like if you think it's worth it. In my opinion, it's totally worth it to relearn these OLLs, because this, like especially this one, like right here, is like a full home grip shift to here to get this alg. And if you're doing it from this angle, like if you're doing it here, you have a full regrip, but if you're doing it here, it's literally, there's no regrip at all. So I think at bare minimum, the most worth it to relearn would be these ones. Sorry, I guess I haven't shown like what I mean by going into PLL, but it's kind of inferred. So let me just set something up. So if we're here, we wouldn't want to do wide arm moves. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of being redundant now, but I'm just gonna elaborate. So like this is a wide arm move into a non-wide arm move, which requires like a home grip reset. But if you do it here, there's no home grip reset. Well, that was wrong because the T-firm was away, but you get what I mean. Yeah, I don't know. So basically, in my opinion, I think you're doing it wrong if you're doing wide arm moves as a right-handed solver. And that goes for almost any alg, basically. Although, like, there are exceptions, like, well, if I can do the ZBLL right, I would say, like, for any, let's say for any alg that goes into another alg, you probably want to stick as close to home grip as possible, and especially in cases like OLL, where it's, like, pretty easy to learn the left-handed algs, like, they're pretty short. I think you should definitely be doing the left-handed algs, or, like, left-handed, because, like, if you learn this guy, it feels like a right-handed alg because you're so, like, you're literally in right-handed home grip. It's like, yeah, I don't know. You should learn those instead. So that's the end of the video. Let me know what you think.